Felt great. Getting those reps, those actual live reps, being out there with the crowd and everything. But mainly just being back with the starting five. Being with the unit, and I've took a lot of reps over the last 2 weeks, and it just felt really good to be with those guys again.
How you think you guys did overall on Saturday?
I think we did really well. I think we handled the blitz on the pass protection, everything like that. The movement on the line, we got a hat on a lot of plays, most of the plays. But really, the blitzes overall during the pass protection, I thought was pretty solid. Everett had a lot of time.
For you, what was it like coming back from injury? Tyler, talk us through that.
It was really hard for me at first because, actually getting some experience last year and then going into the spring as a starter and then, having that first week, you blow a knee, that was really hard for me. And then, it affected my workouts during the summer. But, it gave me a lot of time to think to myself and, become a student of the game and learn a lot more than like what I think I would have if I wouldn't have been injured. So, it's a blessing in disguise because now I'm more of a student of the game and I know a lot more about this offense.
What does it say about the chemistry of you guys' offensive line that just different backs were running this past game and you guys still found a way to make holes for them and you still were pretty cohesive?
Well, the thing with Coach Fisher always preaches next man up, and he gives everybody, a lot of reps during practice. All those backs were getting reps during practice, even with Dalvin still in there. And, I mean, just because it's a different number, different person back there, we're not going to block any differently. We're still going to have their back and try and get them as much yards as possible.
Is there a new fuel, with you at center now and Kelly on the line as well? Is there a new fuel to the line?
I wouldn't necessarily say a new fuel because, that fuel's always there, but, maybe a little different feel. Maybe we're meshing a little bit better now, but, we're just going to keep trying to keep that fuel there.
Coach Fisher talked about how much more comfortable you look here from year 1 to year 2. Do you kind of consider yourself one of the leaders of this unit now?
Oh, definitely. I would definitely hold myself up to that, and I have to do that every single day because when you're the center, they look at you. You're the quarterback of the offensive line. You got to tell everybody where to go, and with being a guy, me and Rod are the only ones really with significant amount of playing time last year. So those other guys are going to look at us, what should we expect? What do we need to do?
How is the offensive line just in terms of pass protection improved, and where are you guys trying to go next?
I think it was very well protected in our game versus Wake Forest, and you can definitely see that there was an actual wall put up, and especially on that one play. I know we put two of us put our guys on the ground and then got back up, and Everett still is back there he has so much time. That just goes back to concentrating more during practice, communicating, talking. We talked a lot during that game.
What does it take to have that communication level just between so many interchangeable parts, injuries? What does it take to just have that communication level from game to game when you're seeing different defenses?
Just all treating practice like games. Each play, even though something might be coming, still call it out. Even though Mickey Cross is coming, still call it out. Just so you're used to everybody hearing your voice and everybody hearing each other's calls and stuff like that. But the more communication you do during practice, the easier it is out on the field during games.
What's it like Miami week for you guys? A lot of guys from Miami. Is there a little bit more excitement maybe?
Maybe a little bit more juice at practice, something like that. But, this is just another game. We got still another long stretch of games, so we can't, blow this up too much. We just got to stick having great practices, keep our assignments the same and techniques, and, hopefully get another W.
It's not – oh, go ahead, John.
I'm sorry. What have you seen from Miami so far, though?
They're a good team. They're well coached. They're gonna come out with juice too. This huge rivalry. So they're going to be a well-coached team. They're going to be well played. They're going to play hard, and we just got to match the intensity and execute.
How fun is it to be in the trenches for a rivalry game like this?
Oh, it's definitely it's one of those things that as an offensive lineman you think of. Maybe a little bit of rain too, make it a little muddy. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those games. It's a big rivalry. You play in the offensive line. A lot of the weight's going to be on you.
You talked about not being able to put too much stock in it, even if it is a rivalry game. You guys have a pretty tough month of October. Have you guys kind of been keeping that in the back of your head that this is only going to get tougher?
Not really. I think, we need to have the mindset that, if we keep doing what we're doing, it doesn't have to get tougher. We can get into that groove and we can keep evolving, like Coach Fisher says. So the more we evolve, it could be the easier it gets.
Did you ever grow up with the FSU Miami rivalry? What's one big moment that you kind of remember or a game?
Honestly, when I first came here, like the 3D, like the tradition 3D one, they showed us that video, and you could just tell what the plays, what it came to at the end of the game. So some of those games are won by field goal, some of them weren't, and when they were won, you can see how people celebrated, how the stands were, that it was definitely a rivalry.
You guys have never lost to the Canes, and Jimbo Fisher's never lost to the Canes. How big of a point of pride is that for you guys?
You know, that's definitely something you got to pride yourself on. But you know, you also can't think just because you're putting the helmet on that it's that's going to make you win. Just because you haven't lost doesn't mean that can't happen. So you just got to go and try and keep that streak going.